All right, we're live. Welcome everyone. This is the 2020 AFL Draft Red Carpet Stream. Joining me is Mr. Monitor, live in person.
How you doing, everyone?
Tony Mize, of course, and this is a big day for him. We'll talk about that in a second. But this is something that we did during the league meeting back in February, and Um, I thought it was kind of cool. I enjoyed it. It's something we're going to do going forward for all the big events. So as people come in, we're going to hopefully get them up here and we'll talk to them. This will probably be about a 2 hour stream, and then we'll cut off. Um, get about probably a 15, 20-minute break, whatever, before we go to the main stream at 6, which will start the actual draft process. So welcome, Tony.
How you doing?
Good. Better
It's
now
good.
that you're here.
Good to be here. Good to be
Um,
here.
so it's a big day for you because now obviously you were in the basketball league.
Yes.
And you're not a newcomer
Third
to.
place, by the way.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, it was.
You were fourth. He
Oh
was
yeah,
fourth. I was third.
yeah. Jesse was still ahead of me. That's
And
right.
I was actually third. I would have been first. I lost on a technicality. I lost on a point break. So congratulations, Jordan. We actually
Yes.
have the trophy right here, which I was going to show it off at the meeting or at the draft as well to everybody. But we'll start off right now. There's Jordan Briggs, the 2020 ABL American Basketball League champion. So congratulations to that. He, of course, unfortunately will not be here, which we'll talk about who's going to be here and who's not going to be here as we go through the draft process tonight. But anyways, back to Tony. So this is not his first fantasy draft, nor is his first fantasy football draft, but
No.
it's his first fantasy football draft in our league. He took over Patrick Lane's team, who last year had finished 15th overall. It was older franchise. Had been the best of the rest winner previously. Also was in the playoffs 1 year. Uh, and you're quite the talk of the town.
Yeah.
Tony's made a lot of trades in the off season, and some I think, as he's told me personally, he's enjoyed doing it. Some of them he wishes he wouldn't have done, or some he just wishes he could flat take back.
Yeah. I agree with that. I had a very good team going, and not gonna lie, I got trade happy, and like the Cousins Thielen trade to Ritz. I should have never done that. Just to get us what? I think I got the 16th pick, which
He traded to me.
I traded to him because I realized my team has so many holes. I had three first round draft picks. The players that I'm going to draft in the first round are receivers or running backs. When my team has so many holes, I didn't see the need to have those picks. So I traded back to acquire more second and later round picks so I can fill my roster a little bit better. So I have options next year for the five keepers.
And that's something that if you watched the stream last week with Will and myself, we did address your team obviously, and there's we have a lot of teams that are going to be contenders this year, and I think it's fair to say that you are not one of those.
No.
You are obviously going to try to be competitive, but you are strictly in a 2020 mode,
2021.
2021 mode,
The way I
and
look at my team, like with Paris Campbell, I'm really high on Paris Campbell. I think he's going to do some good things with Philip Rivers. I think he's going to basically become the new Keenan Allen. So, with that said, it, he's everybody's looking at him as, oh, he's second year player, not very good, did great things at Ohio State. I loved him at Ohio State.
OH.
I had to plug that for you. No problem.
Appreciate that.
Um, So I'm really high on him. I think he's going to do good things. And Philip Rivers is known to throw the slot receiver. I also have Philip Rivers. So I'm hoping to get good things from him. I'm worried about my running backs. I really am. With Gurley and Jordan Howard, both good backs, but they have their injury concerns. inconsistency concerns. With Jordan Howard, there's Breida there, which is the faster pass catching back. Howard's not known for his receiving. And then Gurley with his knees. Who knows what's going on?
But he is home.
He is home.
That might help. So I have to throw this in here. Todd Gurley obviously was on Nick's team for a long, long time, and of course Nick, three-time world champion. The funny thing is Todd Gurley was a Los Angeles Ram, well, a St. Louis Ram, and then a Los Angeles Ram. And Nick Ritz actually went to Rockford High School in Michigan here, which their logo mascot is the Rams. Todd Gurley got signed with the Falcons, and Tony went to East Kentwood High School, which are the Falcons.
Indeed.
So this could be, I don't know, this could be a good thing or a bad thing. This could be some bad karma.
Yeah, it could very well could be.
Um, so looking, you kept obviously also you kept three defensive players. So the one thing you can sit a little on your defense. Um, we definitely agree that you need to rush running back with
Yeah.
your first pick.
One of the reasons I traded for two of those three defensive players I kept. Miles Garrett was the only player on the roster that I inherited I kept. I traded everybody away and basically gutted the team and started over fresh. Um, uh, I traded for Buda Baker and Cunningham because I realized with all the trades I made that my offensive side of the ball wasn't very good. So that was a strategy by me to get some of the top rated defensive players so I don't have to draft defense while everybody else is drafting defense. I go offense. So some of those
Kicker.
players
You want to rush that kicker.
I
Kicker is a very key important position in our
I would
league.
give my keeper pick away, but I can't miss on him. I just can't miss on him.
Yeah, the kickers are very important. We love the kickers here.
I hate the kickers. I'm
Um,
right with you, Will. I wish we'd get rid of the kicker and throw in another flex position.
moving along. So you, of course, are in the Northern Division, which has, of course, the three-time league champion,
I'm not worried about him. He
and
went to Rockford.
it also has Anthony Sykes. Now, Anthony's team was in the bottom half last year, but is expected to be um, in the top half, definitely, if not the top quarter. Is expected possibly to win the division, depending on, of course, what moves Nick pulls off tonight. What are your thoughts on Anthony's team? Of course,
Let me look at it real quick. I
let's
can't
see,
remember.
well, his holdovers were Tyler Lockett. He had uh, wide receiver John Brown, Nick Bosa, Kyler Murray, and then everything else he actually acquired in a trade this year. So he acquired Juju Smith,
From you.
From me, Kenyon Drake from Guy, David Montgomery from me. He got Jimmy Garoppolo from you.
Yep.
He got tight end Mike Gesicki from me, and actually he had Will Lutz, the kicker. He did, I believe that was a holdover. So he obviously kept a kicker, and he kept a good one too because he's playing for the New Orleans Saints,
Yeah.
who put
Yeah.
points up. So he's going to get good
The,
points off
the
that.
if I got my hands on a kicker, how much I hate kickers in fantasy football. If I had my hands on one of the top ones, I would keep them just because that's in our league anyway. The way it's pointed out, you get like Buckner from Kansas City. He's rated at like 1,700 points for our league
For the year.
for the year. So that's
Although that'd
uh
be nice for a game though too.
yeah, yeah, that'd be beautiful for a game. But that right there gets you, say, your wide receiver two, your second starting receiver. i- He's projected to get as many points as a wide receiver in our league. So drafting one of those high kickers, if you can get your hands on them, it makes sense. So
And then obviously Nick is still got a strong, strong team. Like I said, he has a bit of a drop off, had some injury concerns, um, or I guess some law concerns in his case more. Um, but still a strong roster. You still have wide receiver Cortland Sutton. Now, running back Kareem Hunt, that's in a situation where depending on how strong Chubb performs, he got Matt Breida for me in a trade. He's got Tyler Boyd. Of course, he had Darius Geis, who got released from Washington due to some unfortunate law situation. He acquired wide receiver Kenny Galladay. He's got he just acquired running back Tyreek Cohen from Jimmy in a late trade that took place last night. Actually, a big trade that took place
Yeah,
last night.
big, huge trade.
He
That
has
trade right there is going to help Nick out quite a bit.
wide receiver Adam Thielen, tight end Mark Andrews he got from you, and
Thielen he got
three-time
from me
league
too.
champion Matt Stafford at quarterback. Um, and again, he acquired along with Tyreek Cohen. Um, he traded away Devin Singletary. He acquired the fourth overall pick in this draft. So he actually is picking at 4 and 5. So, I think he's in a mentality of I'm still competitive, but I can set myself up for my 5 next year because maybe I'm looking at my roster and I might have 3, possibly 5, but can I make my 2 low end 5s better
Right,
with that fourth and fifth overall
right.
pick?
Like with his team, the whole IC, he's got good receivers. I mean, he's got Boyd, Sutton, Galladay, and Thielen, which there's four right there. You only play three. He could flex one because his running backs are. I mean, you got Kareem Hunt. He's a backup, but he's probably one of the best backup running backs in the league, um, if not the best, in my opinion. Um, then he's got Breida. So I think at four, it's definite. He may go running back with that fourth and fifth pick. But he only has one quarterback on his roster. So at some point, he needs to take one of the free agent or Burrows.
And of course, also in your division, you have Nick Ergang. Now, Nick Ergang, who I'm going to give a little plug to here. I hope this shows up on the stream very well. Nick Ergang just became a realtor, so if you're looking for a home, contact Nick. He's a good guy to see. Um, but he's got a team where he's kind of in the same boat as you are, where he's hoping to be competitive this year, hoping to come out with 5 strong contenders for 2021. Um, Now his roster compared to yours is younger and healthier, but I think
Yes.
he's got the same quality of players. So he's set a quarterback for this year. He's got league MVP Lamar Jackson at quarterback. He's got Baker Mayfield, who of course Mayfield had a subpar year by
Yeah,
what
he
people
did.
thought he was going to do
With
last year.
with that offense they have in Cleveland, I can see him breaking out. Honestly, I can. With
I
the
mean, he should.
receivers he's got Hooper at tight end, and then Chubb and Kareem Hunt. There's no reason why that offense shouldn't be better than what they performed like last year.
So Nick also he's got his 2 starting running backs. Depth at running back is something he's going to need, but he's got Miles Sanders from Philadelphia and he's got Austin Eckler, the starter for the Chargers. Both are solid players all
Which I
around.
tried to trade for Eckler. He wanted nothing to do with it.
So he does need to, and he's got the 6th overall pick. So that may be something he wants to address at 6 is the running back spot because he's got a lot of receivers. Now his receivers, he's got one phenomenal one and one young one in Terry McLaurin from Washington. He's got Emmanuel Sanders, who's been on that team since day one back in 2014 when it was the original owner Jason Eplett's team. He's got Jamison Crowder. He's got Jalen Hurd, who unfortunately is out for the year with an injury. He has wide receiver Kenny Stills, who can put up some numbers,
And he kept a
and
kicker.
he's kept this kicker for like the last 3 years, but this kicker actually is always the 1 or number 2 kicker, and that's Justin
I
Tucker.
understand that. I'm
Right.
just making
Well, I
fun of
mean, and plus
kickers
he's
again.
got I mean, you're the kicker for Baltimore. You're gonna get a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
points. So we just went through your division. So right now I'm gonna go since I have you right here. We're gonna hopefully, like I said, grab people as they come in. If you're just joining us, this is the red carpet stream on the pre-draft of the 2020 fantasy football draft. So we're gonna go through your schedule. In week 1, you play Ray Bailey.
That's a loss.
Um,
I'm
and it
being
is.
blunt and honest.
Ray Bailey is going to be one of the
I
top
yeah,
teams.
I think Ray has a very good team.
Um, and I mean by top, he has a legit shot at winning the whole thing this year. Let's see, week 2, then you're going to play Nick Ergang. So that could be a tight contest.
That's I think that's going to be a tight one. That could go either way. It all depends on, whether the players we draft show up or like me, I have a lot of what ifs on my team. They're good players, but they're what ifs. Like Ergain, what if?
Then from week 3, you got to play who I just had said was my person I think is going to win the division. That's Anthony Sykes. So
Yes.
that'll be a tough one for you.
Yep.
And then you play Nick Ritz, who's been the
That's a
champion the last
win.
3 years.
If I win two weeks this entire season, I want to take down the defending champion, the three-time defending champion.
It, it can happen
It could.
on any given Sunday. Well, there's a movie plug. All right, so then so that's the first round of the division matchups because we have obviously 2 rounds of them. They start week 2, 3, and 4, and then they'll end in weeks um, 11, 12, and 13. You play your division again. So in week 5, then you play Mark Thompson.
Mark's gonna be tough.
Uh, Mark obviously has now he made a surprising trade where he got rid of Saquon Barkley, which surprised a
Yeah,
lot of people.
I so wish I would have because I thought about uh, throwing out there a trade,
Now, would you have given Gurley up for Saquon Barkley? That's the question.
hands down. Yes,
Yeah,
I'm a huge Saquon Barkley
it was
fan
a
when he was
joke.
at Penn
I know
State.
he would have said yes. So then you move on to another a really up and coming team is Jordan Briggs. You play him, who actually, because unfortunately Jordan will not be joining us for the draft, he's watching on the stream. He may be watching us right now.
Watch
Hi,
out,
Jordan.
Jordan. I'm drafting for you. I'm gonna
Um,
announce your picks all wrong.
so he's actually gonna, yeah. Oh, way to tell him that now.
No, I won't
No,
do that.
Jordan's gonna
I'm
be.
not.
We're gonna have 4 people that are gonna be texting in their picks, and they've all been assigned a rep, and all that the rep's gonna do is because they'll be watching the stream, and Tony is Jordan's rep. So when it's Jordan's pick, Jordan will say, "Hey, I want this player." Tony will then write down on the draft sheet and announce Jordan's pick is blah blah blah, who is a player this year, I guess.
Hmm?
The he's a kicker for Seattle. Blah blah blah.
Oh,
That's a little humor.
oh,
Apparently not very good.
no, it wasn't.
Let's see. Then in week 7, where are you? You play Guy. Now, Guy,
See,
you and Guy have kind of created, from what I've heard, a little bit of a bond here.
yeah, yeah, it's
You
kind
guys
of a
chat quite a bit.
rivalry. Yeah, he was prepping for a draft and texted me a couple times asking me about, what I thought of certain players and things like that. I'm not going to give away any of the players we talked about, but um, yeah. So we we got something. Just yeah,
A little off subject here, but what do you think of Guy's guitar playing?
it's pretty good. I enjoy his guitar playing.
Crossing Bard. Guy, there's a plug for
I,
you.
I, I was trying to make a trade from him. I listened to his band and told him he played good guitar. So
Tell you what, Guy, I'll throw a trade offer right here live on the stream. Everyone's going to get it. Tell you what, I will give you, or if you give me the 7th overall pick, the 10th overall pick, and the 13th overall pick, I'll buy 3 Crossing Bard CDs. Trade offer, just make it happen when you walk in here. Um, and then I'll give you like my last 3 picks, just to make up the difference. So you actually get double bonus.
hey,
He gets 3
hey,
sales.
I'm gonna counter that. Just give me the number 7, and I'll buy 5 CDs. Just all I want is the 7.
Okay, I'll just take the 7 for 10 CDs.
Oh, we can just keep going.
Do I hear 15?
No, yes, I want. Yeah,
Just turn it an auction.
yeah.
Let's see. So, let's see. Then week 8, then you gotta play. Guy, I gotta play twice a
Let's
year.
let's go back to week 7. Week 7's going to be tough for me, especially playing a team like guys, because I have Philip Rivers and Paris Campbell on bye week. So there's my starting quarterback and the receiver that I have high hopes for.
But you're only facing, he's only got Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you're only facing the Super
Yeah,
Bowl winning quarterback,
yeah, Philip Rivers is
MVP from
better.
2 years ago.
Philip Rivers is better.
Moving along on that one. Week 8. I'm calling him out on that one. I'm going to let him know that you said that when he gets here.
I'm sorry. I'm not. Patrick Mahomes is an excellent talent. I'm just not a fan of him. I'm
So
not
that,
a fan of his play style or.
then you move on to the guy that is hoping to make a lot of thunder tonight. Now he had 5. He's now got 4 picks in the first 22 overall picks, I believe. And that's Jimmy Chase. He's got number 2
Yeah.
overall. He's got number 9. And then he's got
For
number 1 of the second round
and 5 of the
and
second
5 of
round.
the second round. So his roster, obviously he was the last place team last year. Understand he had some injury issues going on last year, and he made some moves to try to set himself up for this year. And obviously, in the trade last night, he traded away the 4th overall pick. And he got Devin Singletary in return.
So his
But the big deal is essentially it was a first for a first because he's getting Nick's first round pick next year. But that's next year. We're talking this year, and
so with Jimmy's team, Jimmy has a lot of potential. With 4 draft picks that he's got, and they're the 2 in the first, they're both early first. So some of these high end rookies will still be there for him. Um, as far as his running backs go, everybody knows he's taking a running back at 2. That's obvious. And then he just traded for Singletary, which Singletary is a great back, but Buffalo has Moss now. So Moss is going to take all the goal line stuff and basically play the Frank Gore role. Singletary will still be good, but I think they got him projected a little high. Um, and then Delvin Cook, if he's healthy,
I got a little image from Anthony. I'm just showing it to him. I'm not to cut you off there. It was a picture of a bus. It says bus stop, red carpet. I think it's pretty
and
cool.
Delvin Cook, I mean, if he can stay on the field for 16 games,
Well, and he's got his backup. I mean, and it's probably smart to have his backup because
yes,
of
yes,
that
I
reason.
agree. When I saw the keepers come through and that he kept, uh,
Madison.
yeah,
Madison.
yeah, that's his name. That's a smart move by him because Cook hasn't been healthy through his entire career. But Cook is like Connor. If Cook and Connor can stay on the field, they're top 5 running backs.
Well, I don't know if I'd say Connor is a top 5 running back. Connor's not a top 5 running back.
Eh,
I mean
top
definitely
10,
Barkley.
top.
Oh wait, hold on. You know what? Never mind. Never mind. I zoned down on you. I was thinking. Never mind. Apologize.
Okay,
You said Connor.
Yeah, I was comparing Cook and Connor because they both had their injury concerns.
Oh, okay.
For the past, I mean, Connor plays 12 games a year. Give them extra 4 games, and he'd be right up there with, you know, for rushing yards and everything with guys like Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry. I believe that. I was actually trying to trade for him, but Will didn't want anything to do with it. But going back to Cook, um, he's he's always hurt, but when he plays, he's electric.
Yeah, we hate seeing the guys hurt. We do. I mean, I guess I don't cry too much, and if I got to play Jimmy and he's got a player out, but
Right?
so we just talked about earlier. You got to play the returning champion, the defending 3-time champion, twice a year. You have to play a guy that we're considering a top 3 team in Ray Bailey. Oh, and guess what? In week 9, you get to play Will, who is also considered a top 3 team this
Yeah,
year.
it's like yeah,
You're running the gauntlet.
I know I am. I know. I looked at it last night and I'm like, I play all the playoff teams, all the potential playoff teams. I play them all. And you know what? Bring on the challenge. That's all I got to say. Bring it on. Will Paris Campbell 6 pack. That's all. Yeah.
You want to tell him what that little bet you have with him?
So on the last stream, when Eric and Will were breaking down my team, Will said, "Come on, Tony, you kept Paris Campbell."
OH.
So uh, in our league group text, I sent a message that said Paris Campbell is going to outperform Keenan Allen, which I have both players. Um, and he said, I'll bet you a six pack on that. I took that bet. That's how high I am on Paris Campbell. I just like him.
Let's see. So then we move on to week 10. In week 10, you get maybe a little bit of a break, and that's something that Will brought up that Christina, like Nick Ergang, and yourself are in the boat of planning ahead for 2021. So,
By the way, she kept a kicker too.
like the kicker, I wish I would have kept mine now. I do. I had Harrison Buckner.
I had Matt Prater. Yeah.
So obviously you got Christina in week 10. So that's maybe like, I don't know if that's supposed to be some kind of relief that you get going into let's see, week 11.
Well, with Christina's team, she just traded away her early second round. What was that, pick three?
Yeah, pick 3 to Will
So
to make him
she
stronger because
she doesn't pick
but
until the third round.
but it was a fair trade because um what she did was she moved from second round to third round this year, but then she moved up, so he gets her sixth round next year, and she moved up to his fourth round.
Right.
And
Right.
with next year, like we were talking about earlier, only 5 keepers. We're doing like almost it's like a league reset. So with that, a fourth round next year is probably the equivalent to a second round this year.
Yes. Yes. It's going to be a lot deeper.
Um,
So
and
teams like we're talking about with Ergain, myself, and Christina, we're those bottom teams if they realize it and know they're not gonna get very far this year. Um, we're just looking to get five quality players. That's why like I said earlier, traded back and got rid of first round draft picks because you know I only can keep five. What am I going to keep? Four receivers? Because the running backs will
if they're
probably
good
all
enough,
be.
I mean, if they're good enough though,
I mean, originally I picked 12, 15, and 16. So all the running backs that I had my eyes on would be gone at 15 and 16. And that's the hole I see with the injury problems I have. So I'm just basically drafting a bunch of receivers.
so then we go into week 11 where we start all the divisional, second round of the divisional matchups. So you start off with Ritz.
That's a win.
He's open. He's open. Positive attitude. That's all you can ask for. Just side note, we were talking obviously that his team. I mean, the way if you're listening to what we're saying, he's only going to have a couple of wins. Just understand the word tank and Tony Mize cannot go in the same category
I will not tank.
because, well, you can't take him if you try because he has no shot at the first overall pick because, um,
I traded it to this guy.
so even if he ended up with the first overall pick, he doesn't get it anyways. So
So this guy could potentially win the league and acquire the first overall draft pick
doubt
next
that.
year.
I doubt that.
You're welcome.
I thought Ross and Will and Ray are those are your teams to beat. I'm just hoping to win my division, and we'll probably talk about that shortly. But and then of course then you have Anthony in week 12 again,
Yep. Yep.
and like we said at that point we're expecting Anthony to be either winning his division or it could possibly come down to that game could decide if he was to beat you. I mean at that
I
point
mean,
sometimes that
with Anthony and Ritz, Ergain and I are competing for third and fourth in that division. There's no doubt in my mind. Um, with Ritz and Anthony, it all depends on what Ritz drafts at that 4 and 5 spot, and if those players perform. Because if that happens, Ritz has just as strong a team as Anthony. So
and then you close the season out week 13 rivals week. Now I just looked at this and this popped in my head. Literally, if we're going by the way we're talking, this matchup between you and Nick Ergang could literally be a deciding matchup for how many ping pong balls each of you get in the draft lottery.
you mean how many ping pongs you get in the draft lottery? Because I don't have a shot.
I'm just collateral damage, I guess. Whatever I get, I'm happy. If he gets the 10th, if I get the 10th overall pick in the first round next year, I'll be Happy.
So,
I take what I get.
honestly, the goal for me in my first year in this league, I've did years back. I did like 7 leagues a year. I just got burnt out of the whole fantasy thing. This is my first shot at a keeper league, and when Eric first told me that he ran a keeper league, I started asking questions, and it just interests me. The fact that you actually build your franchise makes it. I mean, it's and I mean, the individual defensive players, everything that goes on in this league is just insane. 16 teams. I've never been in a league this big, so that's why I wanted to get into it so bad. Um,
Now, you were telling me earlier this week, you've been talking to some fantasy gurus
yes,
on
yes.
website, and
I
they had
actually
concerns about our league
I
actually.
actually emailed the fantasy pros, and Mike Taglier uh, emailed me back, and he had all kinds of interest and was telling me he wants nothing to do with a league like ours because it's so big. Um, and the 10 keepers, he's like, there's no players out. You're basically drafting rookies. And that's what I like about it. It simulates more like the real NFL offseason. You know, you got your veterans like this year, Anthony Miller's out there. I'm trying to think of the top running backs. Boston Scott, Carlos
Duke
Hyde,
Johnson,
Duke Johnson. All those are good players. Um, that somebody could.
Latavius Murray.
Yep, Loctavius Murray.
Obviously,
That's
we're not talking rookies. We're he's and he's still hanging in there at like 35 years old. Adrian Peterson,
yep, AP, yep. So with that said, you know you got your veterans, and then you're drafting rookies.
Jamal Williams.
Yep.
Um,
Which I heard a rumor that Jamal Williams might be getting cut.
well, I had heard he was possibly getting traded.
I heard if they can't work out a trade deal with they're looking to try and get a receiver from someone because their receiving core isn't very good in Green Bay. Um, that if they can move him, they're going to move him, or he's a potential cut candidate. Don't know
So
if that'll happen. Jamal Williams is still good. He's an excellent receiver out of the backfield. So
I'm actually going to give you a little job here in a second. I'm going to go have you stir. By the way, everyone, if you don't know, this is the pulled pork man.
I'm the pulled pork man.
He's Mr. Monitor. He's Mr. Pulled Pork. He smoked all this the other day for the entire league. Um, rumor is 60 pounds.
I made 60 pounds
Now
on Thursday. Yes,
there
I
is
did.
an over and under on how much will be left over. Rumor is the over under is 5, so they're expecting 55 pounds to go today.
Oh, really?
Um,
Well, I only brought 40 pounds here. I kept 20 pounds for myself.
oh, I guess the odds makers are kind of screwed up.
Yeah, because
Um,
I figured.
but I was gonna have you stir it here in a second, but I
All
do
right,
want to ask you a couple quick questions here
all right.
before you do that. Um, so, do you know who you want with your first overall pick?
I do.
And are you going to release that information right now?
I am not.
No. Um, let me ask you this, because there's the rumor going
By the
around.
way, I pick 11.
He picks 11 overall, and the rumor is you're looking at Rodrigo Blankenship with that pick, the kicker from
You know,
Indianapolis.
right now, if you're watching this, just look at a picture of Rodrigo Blankenship, and he's an awesome dude.
Stud.
Dude wears glasses underneath his helmet, and he's a kicker. Come on, you can't beat that. Only one of his kind. I hope he makes the Colts. Kick that other kicker out of there. Blankenship's the better one.
Chase McLaughlin, I
Yeah, I think that's his name.
believe. So let me ask you this though: if you had the first overall pick, who would you look at? Obviously, you don't have the first overall pick, but I do have the first overall pick, and I'm just trying to see what
if
people.
if I had the first overall pick, I would probably lean towards Jonathan Taylor over Hilaire, just just because.
Not Dobbins.
No, I would not take Dobbins number one. Not with Taylor and Hilaire there. It's it's
I heard
it's
good things about him in Baltimore.
yeah, I love you know I realized this the other week. I was sitting there looking at players I really like, and I'm like, oh dang, that guy's from Ohio State. That guy's from Ohio State. That guy's from Ohio State. I really think I'm a closet Ohio State fan. I'm not saying I'm jumping out of the closet or I'll ever own anything from Ohio State, but they put out some really good players. Oh God.
Go Bucks. OH.
Oh God.
Ayo! All right, I'm gonna send you over to just kind of stir up that pulled
All
pork. Let me
right.
turn it down. The beans, grab the beans too, please.
Okay.
Yeah, we got quite an assembly of food here. We have, like we said, 40 pounds of pulled pork. We got coleslaw. We got baked beans. My wife is making some of her queso dip. There's also cupcakes for a sweet item. Various barbecue sauces. There's salsa. The draft punch. That's actually. You saw me taking a few drinks earlier. It's a non-alcoholic beverage, everyone. I like to make sure I'm. They say drive sober. I say draft sober. Um, and what else do we got over there? Oh, and we're hoping that Dennis is coming with some of Sandy's famous mac and cheese. That's always a big hit. Like I said, we're always a winner with that mac and cheese. Everyone's a winner with that mac and cheese. Trying to think of what else is over there. That actually might be it. Um, so hopefully some people will be arriving shortly. I know Guy had said about 4:30 he was thinking he'd be here. But yeah, so while Tony's over there doing that, I just had some thoughts I'll throw out there with some of those deals that went down. So as far as Nick, you look at what he's got and what he needs, and he has options though at 4 and 5 now that he has the fourth pick, and he could go running back, running back. That was one thought process that I had that he would do. Another mindset was he would go running back and a quarterback. Um, and then hey, your mom's crock pot. You want to check it? That one might. I had that one at high. You might have to turn that one down. I'm not sure. And then of course, uh, he could go receiver and running back. He has options with the 4 and 5, and he's got a team that he's got talent, and he's adding depth. But a running back is what he needs. So personally, I think if I was him, I would go running back and running back. Um, Nail whichever two running backs are left. I mean, there's still going to be two good ones. I mean, if you go by how things are expected, you know, your three not any specific order. J.K. Dobbins, Hilaire, um, Taylor. Those are expected to go 1, 2, 3, and and not in any specific order. The way I just called it off. But then sitting right after that, you got two good ones. You got Swift, you got Akers sitting there. Um, he could possibly have interest. He did just trade away Singletary. Who knows? Maybe he's got interest in Zach Moss. Um, and then, of course, if he was going to take a quarterback, by the way, if you're watching, there's no preseason games, so I have an extensive collection of NFL great games here. So that's the Super Bowl 25, Buffalo, New York. But he could also go Joe Burrows, the rookie quarterback out of Cincinnati, who won the Heisman last year. He definitely needs a young quarterback. He's got Stafford. He doesn't have a second quarterback, and getting Burrows would allow him flexibility for the future, give him youth for the future. He has Tyler Boyd. That's a good combo to pair with. Um, he could also be looking at receiver. There's Brandon Ayuk out of San Francisco. I think he does have a little bit of hammy going on right now, but he should be cleared, ready to go come week one. Of course, there's Rhaegar from Philly, who's rated highly. Jerry Jeudy is one of the top ones. He's got Sutton, so he could go with double receiver out of Denver, get the two top ones there. Um, he has a lot of options. Now, as far as the deal with Nick and Christina, what they did, my opinion, of course, you look at, I mean, Will's giving up again, like we talked last week, we've talked in previous streams, Will's team. Will's team is all about the here and the now, and like he said last week, future will deal with 2021. Um, he's already traded away a one, a two, and I believe a three. Yeah, he's got. So he won't have a first round pick. He won't have a pick until round five next year. So he sacrificed in 2021 for 2020, and I look at his roster and I see the third overall pick in the second round being a wide receiver without question. Um, he does not need to add a running back by any stretch of the imagination, at least not that early. Um, but his receivers, he's got Cooper Cup, he's got Marvin Jones, and he's got Michael Gallup. Now that's a good three receivers, but he needs to add an over the top guy. He needs to add a bigger name, and that's where I think this draft is extremely receiver heavy. And I was just telling Tony, I was just telling them, I think Will is going to go receiver with that third overall pick in the second round, um, because although he could use, obviously anyone can always use an extra running back. Given his team structure, running back is not a rush need. It has to be receiver at that pick.
Will,
Yes.
I have no doubt in my mind he's taken a receiver there. Um, with him having, let me look at his Will. I forgot what other receiver he had. He had,
Got Gallup, Marvin Jones, and Cooper Cup.
yeah, he needs to
Solid
address.
players, but
Yeah,
they're not
yes.
over the top. They're not the
Well,
big name.
because this is a PPR league, you can get away with not having an overtop
Right.
guy because if like Cooper Cup, possession receiver, he's gonna get a lot of catches. Um, the thing I'm worried about in for the Rams and Cooper Cup and Woods is Van Jefferson. Um, I think his Van Jefferson's route running from looking at him on tape, I think his route running is insane, and he's gonna outwork Cooper Cup. And eh, Cooper Cup's on a contract year. I don't know if you know that. So they could let Cooper Cup walk, and then Van Jefferson it takes over Cooper Cup, and I think Van Jefferson is better than Cooper Cup. So
And also, on a side note with Will, he's the only guy in our league, or owner in our league. Sorry, because I forgot we do have the first lady of fantasy, Christina. Um, Literally because she is the first female in our league's history, so she is the first lady of fantasy football. But he has three quarterbacks. Now, of course, we have the quarterback rule where you're only allowed two starters, which he has. He has Teddy Bridgewater and Dak Prescott, but he acquired in a trade with Guy Andy Dalton, which is, of course, Prescott's backup.
yeah,
So,
that's insurance for
right, so
Prescott.
he's good. He's at quarterback. He can't touch another quarterback because our limit is three. So obviously he's not going to be touching a quarterback in this draft. Although rumor is he's been trying to move Bridgewater.
Yes,
So
I got a trade offer from him today before I left to come do the stream.
you got a trade offer.
Yes,
I got a trade offer as well for Teddy Bridgewater. I think this is going to play a big role today. Although I can't do much with the mouse with it.
that's fine. I can control the mouse.
Okay, I don't need you to control the mouse. Um, Sorry, we're doing a long stream here. I thought there'd be some more people showing up, so we're kind of doing some filler stuff here. That's why always throw in the little humor.
That's fine.
So,
I like humor.
uh,
Careful, it might stick. It's like Velcro right now.
but who should we talk about next?
Um, I just wanted to touch on what you were saying with Ergain, what he could do at 5 and 6. Um,
Ritz. Ritz at 4 and 5.
yeah, that's what I meant, not Ergain.
Hurricanes at 6.
Yeah, yeah, Ergain's at 6. Um, I honestly think he's going to take a running back in Joe Burrow. But I mean, out of the running backs that are left, it doesn't matter what order he takes them if he goes running back, because it's going to be DeAndre Swift and Cam Akers there. To me, I'm not real high on Cam Akers. They got a bad offensive line. He ran under a bad offensive line in at Florida State, but he was still productive. Um, I like DeAndre Swift better if he's going to take a running back. Swift, and then because he only has Stafford, and from what I've heard about Ritz, he's always looking towards the future.
Oh yeah.
And with Stafford's injury issues last year, who knows what his back is like. So him taking Burrows at 5 is a smart pick, in my opinion. Because if I still had the fifth pick, I would probably take Burrow there if I still had that pick.
Let me ask you this. Let's get in this. Let's analyze this trade. And he's not here, and we'll talk to him when he gets here, of course. And that's Jimmy Chase. Nick Ritz also will not be here tonight. So before I also Nick Ritz will not be here tonight. He will actually have Jimmy Chase will be his draft representative. Nick Ergang will not be here, but Christina Baldry will be drafting for him. And like I said, they're all watching in stream. And Anthony Sykes will not be here. He's going to be watching the stream, and his draft representative is actually Will Baldry, who we are just talking about. Let me ask you this. Let's get inside the head. We just did analyze Nick Ritz's point of view. Let's look at Jimmy's point of view on this deal. So if you had the second overall pick and the fourth overall pick in this year's draft, would you have done this deal? Now, yes, you get a first round pick next year, but with all this talent in this year's draft, would you have done this deal?
No.
And why?
Hands down, no. With Jimmy's team, um, Tyreek Cohen back up to David Montgomery. David Montgomery could have a breakout year. He could be just a bust. We don't know at this point. So Cohen is his backup, more of a third down receiving back. Um, and then, like we talked about earlier, the injury issues with Delvin Cook.
Well, remember he traded Cohen away.
Well, I'm
Oh, I
saying
wasn't okay. I
I
wasn't sure if you were
I
thinking he still had Cohen. That's why.
no. What I'm saying is what he had before the trade.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Um, Delvin Cook's injury issues, so he's not reliable. You don't know on a weekly basis if you're going to have Delvin Cook to put in your starting roster. Um, he does have Madison to replace Cook, so that right there, and Madison's a good back too. I think Madison could, if Cook got hurt and he was out for the entire year, Madison could be a top 15 running back. Just throwing it out there.
Hmm.
Um, but there's a lot of question marks about his running backs. So having those picks and guaranteed you're going to get, and this running back talent in this draft is better than I've ever seen for those 5
Oh,
running backs. I'm talking Taylor, Hilaire, Swift, Dobbins, and Akers. Insane talent.
this is, in my opinion, as far as rookie running back standpoint and rookie wide receiver, this is the strongest draft our league has ever had at these two positions this deep.
Yeah, I mean the first 5 picks of our draft could all be running backs.
Oh,
And, and
absolutely.
then
Actually, you could probably say the first six.
yeah, I mean Zach Moss would be the 6th one, and he's pretty dang good too.
Well, and not to break the rookie streak here, but Duke Johnson actually, from what I've heard, has been getting a lot of praise, and he's in a situation where in Houston he's the backup but slash third down running back to David Johnson,
David
who
Johnson
has a
has.
huge history issue,
Yep.
and I've heard that they've been really happy with Duke Johnson. So Duke Johnson's stock actually has risen
Yes,
up.
I agree with that. And he's a third down back, but he can still run.
You know
He's
what's funny? I just thought of this, not to cut you off, but Nick Ergang forever had Duke Johnson, and then he just didn't keep him. So who knows? Maybe at 6 he brings him back.
he very
That's a
well could.
possibility.
It's a possibility. But with looking at Ergain, and I've told you this multiple times when we've been talking, um, I don't think he's going running back at 6.
Kicker?
Potentially. Blankenship.
No, I know you're going to say wide receiver.
I really think his wide receivers are all right. they're
Well, McLaurin is not all right.
well,
McLaurin
yeah,
is good. I mean, really good.
that's your wide receiver one.
And Sanders will still get you production. I know what you're saying though. He's got older guys. He needs to get a young guy in
And
there. And
Jamison Crowder, he's good, but he plays for the Jets.
right, and that's a really tough situation right
It's
now.
very volatile.
Jalen Hurd actually would have had a chance to have a really good year because the receivers in San Francisco have been banged
Didn't
up
he
a
pull
bit.
his or tear his ACL?
Yeah, Hurd's out.
Yeah.
He's done.
So
Um, and
uh,
then of course Stills is a third receiver. I mean he's on the downward part of his career. He'll still get you production, but
but you're looking at Jerry Jeudy in Denver. You're looking at Lamb. All the receivers will still be there.
Rhaegar, Ayuk.
He's got his first choice of whatever receiver he wants. So to me, to shore up that, and I mean his running backs are Miles Sanders and Austin Eckler, two potential top 10 running backs. So you go with what does he have in the second round? I,
8, I believe.
okay, well then there's still going to be
Receivers there.
obviously there's going to be receivers there, but um, there
He could
may
go. You know what? He could go. You just got me thinking. He could theoretically go receiver, but receiver.
yes he
You know,
could
if he's thinking the way we just talked about that, he's got a plan for 2021. Then maybe he looks like, well, I could draft a running back, give me some depth for this year, just to have a guy to plug in if these two have a bye week or whatever. Or do I add another young receiver and then I keep Lamar Jackson, Austin Eckler, Miles Sanders, and Terry McLaurin, and then have two choices for my fifth guy at wide receiver for next year.
exactly whatever receiver he feels is
I
going to
mean, you're
produce
just talking
more.
Van Jefferson could be that pick at the second round, number 8.
Yeah,
He could be there.
you got guys like Van Jefferson. I'm going to say this name just because Eric can't. Laviska Chenault from Jacksonville. I've heard good things about him.
Chase
He's
Claypool.
Chase Claypool will be there.
Um, who else? You got Higgins. You got
Yep, Higgins.
um, Pittman. You
Yep, Michael
got
Pittman Jr.
now he's not a rookie, but Preston Williams.
Um,
Um,
Randall Cobb from Houston. Um,
see now, in my opinion, Randall Cobb is too high in this. Now our
I
guide is
agree.
based off overall production. Like I said in the stream last week with Will, I think some of these guys are over exaggerated stats. And I think that's one of them. I think John Ross is another one that is overrated in the stat department. Now Sterling Shepard, I think I would actually move him up because he is a veteran guy who will get production in New York.
Yes.
Um, who else we got? See, Corey Davis is too high in my opinion on this list. Cole Beasley might be in the right spot only because he's going to get a lot of slant catches. He's kind of like the look-off guy in Buffalo. Um, you never know. I mean, he's older, but guy just walked in here. We'll get him. We'll get him up here in a second. Um, but yeah, Larry Fitzgerald still has the potential with all those young guys in there. Who knows? Maybe he'll get more production. Opens the old guy up.
Well, I'm with Larry Fitzgerald. They have Hopkins, Christian Kirk. I don't think Fitzgerald will. I mean, he'll be there, but I don't think he's going to produce like he used to. But how you doing, guy?
Welcome, guy.
Nice to see you.
I don't know if you wanna grow up. We got all the food in there. If you wanna or if you wanna wait, we're gonna cut stream probably in about 5:30 ish, and then we'll probably grab a bite too, take a little break. We've been streaming since about 3:45. So here, grab yourself some headset. Guy, huh? Oh shoot, you gotta turn it on. Hold on. I turned it off. There's a little switch on the side. Yeah, there should be like a little side switch if you just click it. All right. Tap your mic. You're good. You're good. All right. Well, welcome, Guy. Now, just so everyone knows, it's not a secret that I am horrible with player names. And so, I thought about it and thought about it. I'm like, I don't want to screw the names up on this stream. So, along with myself, Guy will be headsetted during the draft. And
Not gonna
obviously,
hear anything.
you're not going to hear anything.
Okay,
Yep.
but you just hear me.
You should be able to hear us talk.
Not through here. I can.
No, but they can hear you. That's the important thing.
Okay.
Um, so obviously, as people will call out, and the way our microphones are, you're not going to hear much of what people in the room say. So they'll call up the pick, and then Guy will announce it for the people on the stream that are listening. And what I'm going to do while he's announcing it, I will say who's up, who's on deck, and who's in the hole.
Hey, can you do me a favor and say Tua's last name for me?
Tagovailoa?
It's Tungavaloa.
Tungavailoa.
You can't even say it right.
Tungavailoa.
Nope. Tagovailoa.
Tagovailoa.
Can you say his full first name?
Tua. Guy Conkey.
There you go.
Tony Mize. Eric Mueller.
Great job. Great job.
So anyway, so now we got Guy here. Now we got something else to talk about.
Uh-oh.
So let's see. Where should we start with Guy?
What do you guys need learning on?
Oh, I don't need education. We've been talking about a lot about everyone's team. We've been talking about what we think, some of the things that could go on. Obviously, a lot of trades have gone on this year, Guy.
Lots of trades.
We get the.
I don't need to be in it.
There he is. I wish I could get us all in here, but I can't. So I was. Well, we'll focus on
I
Guy.
don't want to be on there.
I don't want
All
to be
right,
on there.
focus on Tony. All right.
All right.
So a lot of moves have happened in this league, a lot of trading, and actually in the last 16 hours we've had two deals that happened. We were just talking about those, trying to get your insight on. First of all, I'll start with the one that happened late last night, where Nick Ritz acquired the fourth overall pick, and basically it was a first round pick this year for next year's first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously there was a couple running backs thrown in there, a couple random picks, but it was mainly it's the fourth overall pick for next year's first. What was your thought process on that deal? I mean, is that a deal you would have done, or would you have passed on that?
Let's see here. So Ritz traded Devin Singletary, a 2020 ninth round pick, and a 2021 first round pick to Jimmy for Tarek. I've heard it a lot of different ways. So it's
Tyreek.
Tyreek.
That's how I've heard it.
Yeah. Cohen, 2020 first round pick, fourth overall, and a 2021 ninth round pick. I think Singletary and Cohen kind of a wash. I think they may
That's
probably be similar statistics. It just depends on what your opinions are on Montgomery and Zach Moss.
I do like Singletary. I
uh,
mean, in between the two, but I guess the bigger question is, would you have given up the fourth? If you were Jimmy, is more the question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have given up that fourth overall pick for next year's first?
No. I think there's knowing this is a weird year for drafting.
It's a good year for drafting.
It is, but it's really good for this year. Next year, this may screw it up a lot because you're going to see a lot of players just dropping out, like not dropping out, but all deciding to just train for the NFL next year and not play college football if it plays out or not. So you're just going to have random people that you may not know of out there. That makes it tough. I also don't like it because it's a pick ahead of me, and Ritz and I draft similarly on
Mm-hmm.
players a lot of times. So I feel like he's just going to take another guy I really want.
Let's see. One example would be I think Kareem Hunt. I remember that one. They do actually think a lot of times Guy just happens to nab like literally Nick was gonna pick this individual. I think and then Guy just happens to if he's right in front of him, Guy gets it. And it's like I was just about to pick him. We got Ray Bailey down here. He just came down. I just walked away. But anyways, But yeah, this is a really good year for
Hmm.
running back. Like I always said, this is probably in our league's history the best running back and wide receiver rookie draft we've
Yeah, by
ever had.
far.
And like you just said, he made a good point. Next year is going to be very weak in both positions next year
Hmm.
because you don't know what they got going on. Oh, there's my wife Amy. She's making the queso dip, of course. Um, lost my train of thought. It's take my breath away.
Oh God.
But anyways, like we were talking, now for Nick, I think this is a huge move because
Hmm.
he could go running back, he could go running back, quarterback, he could go um, running back, top receiver. Um,
With the makeup of his team, he better probably better off looking at wide receiver there, going wide receiver, wide receiver.
I wouldn't complain about that because
No, I mean
that means more running backs will fall to me at 11.
exactly.
um, but I mean, let's be real. He's got Stafford. I mean, it's
Hmm.
not going to be a shocker if he goes Burrows with one of those two. Um,
And if you look at his team and my team, it's a mash of what I had, what he had. I have his guys, he has my guys now, back and forth.
Well, same thing with me and Ritz.
Yeah.
We traded so much. So, um,
it's by the
but
punch. Sorry.
going back to the uh, Montgomery Moss comment that you made, guy,
Hmm.
um, I'm not real high on single or Montgomery. So, um, I think Cohen has a better shot to, and Singletary's gonna lose a lot to Zach Moss.
Well, being as I'm the guy that drafted Montgomery first over on our draft last year,
That was dumb.
and that obviously should have been Jacobs. But here's the thing: when it comes to Montgomery, he actually, given the situation he was in, actually performed very well.
Hmm.
He's probably had one of the worst quarterback situations in the league. Had
He still has
arguably,
that bad quarterback play.
huh?
He still has that bad quarterback play.
But the bigger thing is he had one of the worst offensive lines in football. I mean, take Montgomery. You put him behind the Colts line, he's not going to do what he did last year in
You
Chicago.
put about any running back behind the Colts
Right,
line.
but I mean, even if you put him in a even a let's say a top 15, is like the 15th ranked, he's going to be closer to 1,000 yards rushing.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
the production alone, they gave him the ball almost 300 times. Like I think it was like
hmm
270 or 275 last year.
yeah.
So obviously they're giving him faith. They have faith in him running the ball. The problem is, like I just said, the offensive line isn't getting him holes. So he's trying, and he's not the kind of back. He's not like Barry Sanders, who's going to be doing all these shifty moves and spins and everything and making his own hole. He needs a hole, but he's got the speed if he gets the hole where he can make a big run, a big play happen.
What he's got going for him this year is he has trimmed down. He lost 6 pounds in the off season, which was for some reason that was made a big deal on the radio. Like, well, he lost 6 pounds. I mean, they can do that in the morning. They said he was a little bit shiftier because of it.
So remember,
Um,
this is family friendly.
I didn't say anything bad.
Nope, nope, you didn't. You didn't. You didn't.
Um,
Um,
and he's going to get the volume. A lot of time in fantasy and real football, you have to separate in your head where you can have a great player for real football, but he's awful in fantasy.
Because he
So with
doesn't get the
Montgomery,
volume.
he's going to get the volume. He may not be great for real football, but if he gets a lot of carries, he should stumble in the end zone for
Five, six touchdowns
yeah,
ish.
maybe a ceiling of like 8 touchdowns for
Yeah.
him, maybe 1,100 yards. But
so I don't know if have you watched any of this stream that we're doing right now at all
not
on
this
your way
one.
here? Okay.
I was
Obviously,
driving.
well, it's live. I wasn't sure maybe if you were listening to it on the way here or
I
something.
yeah.
So you got a couple of trade offers live on stream here from both of us, and he kind of piggybacked off an offer I gave you. So I'm going to give you my offer right here live and see what the response is, and then he can piggyback off that. So
He's gonna say
I
no.
offered you this. I
You offer me a trade?
Yep, I offered. No, I didn't. I offered you on stream a trade,
Oh,
so it's on air. It's actually
oh,
recorded.
so I don't know about the trade
So
that
you
you
don't know
offered
about the
me.
trade yet.
No,
So here's the deal.
it's
So you
news.
would get,
Breaking news.
Oh wow.
or I'm sorry, I would get the 7th overall pick, the 10th overall pick, and the 13th overall pick. You would get, what are they? I think I have. They're two 14th round picks, and I think it was a 12th. Plus, I would buy 3 Crossing Bard CDs. Now he countered with,
um, what did I say?
you said 5.
I did say
He said
5.
5, and then I said I would buy 10, and then he said 15, and we kind of cut it there because obviously we saw where that was going. So if you have any interest, I got the money right here. I can buy the Crossing Bard CDs right now.
I'll counter you and say I will trade you the number 1 overall for my 10th and first round next year. Plus, I'll give you a Crossing Bard CD.
For
4. He just said
I just
4.
told you what for.
the number one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think your band's great, but they're not that great.
Oh.
I'm
See,
just kidding. I think no, honestly, we both said we played it one day at work, and we thought your guitar work was just phenomenal.
yeah,
It really,
very,
really was.
very good.
I appreciate
Um,
that.
I mean, it's just the fact that I went to high school with someone that could play guitar that well was just mind blowing to me, actually.
I actually last night while I was finalizing my draft plans, I was actually listening to it.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah,
Um, I think you would look really good on Tom Keefer's band. I do. I think you would be a good fit for Cinderella.
I don't think so.
I did meet the lead singer guitar player for the Bullet Boys. Um, he was rude.
Was he?
Yeah,
He wasn't smooth up in you though,
definitely not.
huh?
Because he was rude, we didn't stick around to hear it.
Oh jeez. Oh, we got sidetracked. I lost exactly what I was gonna say.
That's easy to do. You're Eric.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, I know. So, any insight in what you're looking at those picks though?
7, 10, and 13. My initially, I feel drafting has actually been one of my weaker points the last few years, just because I feel like I haven't drafted well.
Wow. Let's see. Let's look at some of the guys that you have drafted that you still have. Let's see. He drafted Patrick Mahomes. Yep, he didn't hit it there.
See, I knew he was going to be good. I didn't say all of them, but once in a while I hit one.
I mean, Galladay. I mean, obviously you don't still have him, but that acquired you Joe Mixon.
Hmm. Which
Um,
Mixon I wanted as well when he was up for the draft. I think.
No, did you draft McCole Hardman?
Hmm.
I think he's going to be
oh,
very good.
Christina and Will have showed up.
Good afternoon.
We've been talking about your guys' deal. Yeah, I've been busy. I've been busy. I offered him a draft on stream, and he shot me down.
Oh no.
I offered to buy 3 CDs from him for the 7th, 13th, and 10th pick. Thought that wasn't a good offer. Yeah. Um,
So if you buy all the remaining discs we have, I'll give you 2 of those picks.
huh? Well, how many discs is that I gotta buy?
90.
How much are they a piece?
$5.
Even if I won the league, that wouldn't cover it. Um, this is what we get. This kind of bantering. I forget what I'm gonna say. So I know what I wanted to ask you. So obviously you don't have the first overall pick. If
Hmm.
you did, what would you take with number 1 overall?
It depends on the day you ask me. I've been going back and forth like even any league like well I guess we're mainly for rookies for between Clyde
Oh, Dennis just walked in.
and Jonathan Taylor.
I said the same thing.
I can't make up my mind which one I prefer
He asked me the same question. I'm like,
because the hype that Hilaire is getting makes me kind of back off because just everyone's into hyping someone up and he's gonna be this and that and I'm like maybe he won't be. What Hilaire was there for, he's drafted the Chiefs drafted him because he fit a tool they want to use, which is that running back that can split out, catch passes, and rush the ball once in a while.
Like any running back that Andy Reid has ever had.
Right. Damian Williams is the guy that they hand the ball off to rush the ball. When he opted out to not play, everyone just assumed like, oh, he's going to get all the rushing snaps and the passing. It can't be. He can't. A rookie with his stature isn't going to be able to handle 300 touches a
Right.
year or whatnot. So I think he's still going to should be good, but I don't think he's as good as the hype is. Even in redraft leagues, I've seen him go as high as like fifth overall,
Yeah.
and that seems too high for him. Not crazy high, and I can understand it. I mean, Saquon, his rookie year, year before last year, like he was going six. Um, Taylor, everyone's like, well, Marlon Mack's in his way. The Colts did not move up in the draft quite a ways to draft him to have him be, a fill-in back.
Yeah. I
He's
agree.
he's better than Mack. He'll take it over within a couple weeks. He can catch the ball. He can rush the ball, and I think he overall may have a better career.
Yeah, exactly. And this being a dynasty keeper league,
Hmm.
that's what you got to look at
Yeah,
as career.
So obviously we know what you would take if you had the
I
first
would
overall
probably
pick.
lean Taylor, but be not confident in it. But if I took Hilaire, I'd be happy, but
Yeah,
But to quote Will, I think last week, I don't think normally. So who do you think I'm gonna take?
Dobbins,
And that's a
yep.
good possibility.
That's what I think.
which he is kind of the same way. Like, I know there's a lot of fans of Ingram, but but he was in the right place at the right time and has been. When he was in New Orleans, he was there. He's got the talent and he did what he needed to do with it. But in like New Orleans offense, he was good. Went to Baltimore, he did really good there. Last year it was an anomaly to get 15 touchdowns,
Yeah,
and
that
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 was
that's going to be a regression.
yeah, absolutely. Okay,
Just like Aaron Jones in Green Bay.
yeah,
That's
he's not going to have that
he's
many.
not going to have 19.
Well, in about an hour or so, we're gonna find out who the first overall pick is. And all I'm gonna say is this: I am currently wearing our first overall picks jersey underneath this, so that'll be unveiled when
He's all trying to spy. Scary part is I know who it is.
that's because I ordered the jerseys. I actually ordered his jersey for him, so
Oh.
I ordered them together. Um, I think you can't go wrong. Really, I think they're
Yeah,
all going to be great, and you never know. They could all three of them could be busts, but
the one I have questions on is DeAndre Swift, just because he's a Lion.
That's my. If he wasn't on the line, like it came to the Chiefs pick during the draft, I thought 100% they were taking Swift. That was my like. He's gonna be perfect for that team. He can take handoffs. He'll be great. He can catch the ball. They didn't take him, and I was like, oh, okay. Then the Lions took it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
I'll tell you who I think Nick should take. I'm higher on Akers.
I I've
I
already
think
said it.
Akers
I
has a
think
chance to be really really good.
I think Akers with the Rams isn't gonna produce maybe next year, but I don't think this year.
Hey, look, it's Mark Ingram, his dad.
Oh,
yeah.
Um,
Akers, he could. The Rams is set up just because he doesn't really have anyone in front of him now to get in the way for him being the lead back.
right.
So he's gonna be another case of he's gonna get the number of carries to make him good. It's just what he does with it there.
Because Henderson's injured.
Hmm. So that opened things up. I'm kind of with you. Like I was pretty like high on him for a while, but I've backed off him a little bit recently just because of that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yes, Gurley has his injury issues, but he did. I mean, he had. It's Todd Gurley. He's gonna put up numbers,
Hmm. The healthy
but
Gurley had was special. I
but
don't think Akers is special.
yeah, exactly. But with that offensive line, Gurley couldn't even really get it done.
Hmm.
You just said Gurley's special. Akers doesn't have the Gurley talent,
Right.
so um, I mean, he could be a 1,000-yard rusher. I don't think he will be this year.
And the thing with 1,000-yard rushers, like now it's not that doesn't seem like it's that big a deal
No,
anymore. Like if you don't get 1,000, like what are you doing?
right?
So since both Will and Christina are here, would one of you like to come up and be a part of this? You don't have to.
Christina,
Will,
nope.
would you like to come up? You were up here last week. You gotta wake up.
He said, "Looks like you're loaded up."
Oh, well, no, we kick one off. Yeah, we kick Baldy gets kicked off.
Yeah,
Oh wait, they're both
hey.
bald.
Hey,
We both are like, "Hey."
The food obviously is in there. Go ahead and yeah, I'll get that later. Go ahead and just grab some pulled pork, or looks like there is mac and cheese, and there's beans, and there's punch, and there's cupcakes, and the cupcakes.
but you're by the door.
You are in the back of the room though.
Yeah, did you want to join, Will? Yeah.
Yeah. See if we can't get some insight on this trade that took place.
I wish I took notes when I was watching the preview of stuff I disagree with you guys on. I don't remember what it was now. Most of it, maybe.
Um, so we were obviously talking about the deal you made. Obviously, you sacrificed another pick for next year.
I
So
did.
now you don't pick until the 5th round next year.
Well, as it stands now.
Oh, yeah, true. Good point. Good point. Could make a move. But like you said, that's future will.
That's right.
So our thought process is you're trading up to the 3rd pick of the 2nd round for a receiver.
That's an interesting thought. I'm definitely trading up to the 3rd pick in the 2nd round.
Well, you've already done it. You're not
Right,
trading it. You
right,
did
right, right. That is done. That's a done deal. So
it. Will Baldry not giving me anything.
yeah, looking at my roster, I don't think it's hard to see where my biggest need is.
Kicker.
Kicker is clearly that's my first 3 picks.
I got to tell you, I'm right with you on the kicker, and I made it perfectly known. I hate kickers in fantasy football.
Always have.
Give me a flex position. Give me something else.
Right,
Coach.
right. I'd rather
Coach.
coach, cheerleader, water
league.
boy,
Punter.
anything.
My league tomorrow we have a coach slot.
You know what? I wish we had an offensive line slot. That would be fun.
That would be
Think
fun,
about
but I
it.
don't know how you
You
would
get
score it.
a negative number for sacks given up.
Mhm.
You could
Pen-
get like an overall rushing number. So like yards. So like what teams is a yard rushing amount.
Mm.
That's too much. I can't. That's hard enough to
I
for the
could I
defensive
could
line.
see that for an offensive line as a unit, kind of
Yeah,
like
it'd
we
be a
do
unit thing. It
defense.
wouldn't be a player. You
Oh,
get
not an
yep.
individual
It'd be
player.
like a team offense type of thing.
That would be interesting, but this league already does a lot of interesting things.
Yeah, it does. It's
Very
not even
different from
available. It's not even an option. So it's not
By
like
interesting, you mean
like having kickers, right?
or punter.
Punter, punter could be interesting too.
You get like points for hang time.
you get any
Let's
points
see.
for hitting the scoreboard in Dallas Stadium?
That should be like 1,000,000 points.
Another thing we were talking about earlier was a trade that took place last night, which was a big one where Nick and Jimmy did the deal for the 4th overall pick. The question is, I've been asking all these guys, and they've answered. Just your mindset. Would you have done that deal?
I'm sorry. The from which end?
Would you? Okay, so
I'll call it what it
I
is. Right?
think Nick wins that deal. So I'm guessing if
Uh,
you're Jimmy, do you offer that deal?
Not a chance. Now, but my my strategy, my approach this year is clearly different. Only because I saw what I thought was an opportunity. I am definitely going for the win this year. I'm taking the a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush approach, right? I'm selling the farm. So am I giving up the number? What do you have? 4 overall
It would
pick?
have been the 4th overall pick.
Not a chance. Now, because he didn't get enough value back, in my opinion. What do you get, Tariq Cohen?
Well, he got Singletary. Ritz got
Singletary.
Cohen.
I got it backwards. Still, Singletary 1 is injured and
He got the
2
next year's first
and 2 is not
for a
likely
guy
to.
that potentially could be in the playoffs. So you're looking at a back-ended first-round pick.
Right.
Obviously, in a big year to have another first-round pick.
Absolutely. But I'm not playing for next year. I'm playing for this year.
Right.
So that's just my approach.
Right.
If you're playing for next year, absolutely. Part of the reason that I did the pick with Christina. She moves up next year. I move up this year because I'm
Mhm.
playing for this year.
Right, and like you said, that she is kind of like Tony, like Nick Erging are more playing for next year.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but like you look at Jimmy's team. I mean, with that fourth pick, you look at kind of some of the stuff he already had. I mean, he could have been in the mix for a contender this year
Yeah. And
because
that's what
that
I
pick
said.
could have been potentially, like I said, that could have been Akers, that could have been Swift, that could have been Burrows. That well, he wouldn't take Burrows because he already got two quarterbacks. That could have been the top receiver in the draft.
Well, that's just it. You're gonna get your choice of receiver, right? And if you want to go running back, you're obviously gonna get one of the top four guys. Now he already had the number two overall pick, so you're gonna, which is where I was sitting last year.
Hmm.
And we came in there were, it was pretty clear to most people that aren't just drafting whoever came from their favorite school, but who the top two picks were going to be. And I just say that because you told me you changed your mind last year at the last minute.
I did.
But it was pretty clear who the top two picks were going to be. And you're sitting at the number two, and that worked out pretty well for me with Josh Jacobs. Now, had you taken Jacobs and I got David Montgomery, I probably wouldn't be as happy. But at the same time, Montgomery would have still been one of my keepers.
The reason I didn't take Jacobs is I'm not high on Alabama running backs.
Okay.
I understand Derrick Henry, but Henry prior really to last year
Flash in the pan.
wasn't
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, Mark Ingram obviously has had a solid career, but starting off it was slow.
Yeah.
Who else you got? What other Alabama running backs have there been?
No, I get it. You're look, you got a running back in the draft this year that's rated real high from that school down south, and there's clearly a history of success with running backs from that college, right? I mean, you got what, Maurice Claret, right? You got Beanie Wells. I mean, just off the top of my head.
Eddie George,
So so Eddie George, right? Back when the
Ezekiel Elliott.
shoulder pads were the size of cars, right? Zeke obviously is doing well. So no, I definitely get it. It's just like I said, if it's me, I'm keeping that pick.
And that's like one thing. Like I was actually I was telling Tony a few days ago we were talking about Swift actually, and Swift isn't. I mean he's not fully healthy. He's got there's some question marks on him. But if you look at all the history of your Georgia running backs,
Mhm.
all of them are good. But what do all of them have in common? Terrell Davis, Todd Gurley, Sony Michelle, Nick
Mhm.
Chubb in college. What do all of them have in common? They all got hurt
Let's say
and
injury
all
history.
get hurt
Yeah.
and they all have leg problems.
It's I mean, it's a tough position, right? That's why those top few guys are so valuable, right? Those Christian McCaffreys that didn't miss any time.
And, and that's funny. You talk about that one. That was a big year where there was a fight. They thought there was a big fight to get number one that year because that was Fournette,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
he took McCaffrey, and the whole room was like kind of like holy cow,
Yep.
like because we were fully thinking that was going to be Fournette, and then Fournette goes too. But I mean, obviously Mark saw something that was a lot smarter than a lot of other people because McCaffrey's obviously top three in the league,
He's been a
and
stud.
Hmm.
obviously Fournette is not living up to what he was supposed to.
Now,
A lot of it, I think, is more his attitude and mental. Talent. The kid's off the chart, but then he does these dumb things like gets in a fight in the field and
yep.
stuff like that.
I think if Fournette would get a change of scenery to a system
I
and a
can't believe
different
he didn't get
coach,
traded.
It could recharge him
yeah.
for sure. I agree. But that's also why you talk about the injury history at that position. That's why the depth piece is so important.
Hmm.
And then you throw in this year where we've got the potential COVID issues, and it just makes it even more important,
Oh yeah,
especially in a PPR league because you've got very few running backs that catch a significant number of passes.
Yeah, this year I think you're going to see a lot of third string running backs getting used quite a bit. Even like I assume by after like week 10 or so, there's just going to be people getting pulled off the street to fill in different positions. So it's just going to be a weird year.
yeah,
The,
it's gonna be. You're right. It absolutely is. And
the waiver wire could be very busy this year, which is not something that typically is the case in this league.
no,
Because there's usually not much left on the waiver.
Exactly. Exactly.
um, Yeah, and but like again, and then plus you have next year thrown in where everyone's like, well, we're looking for just five. So like you kind of like like you have the mentality of you're all for right now. And that let's just say I'm just throwing that out there, like how this could go awry for you though too. And I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm just throwing this like
Oh no, it's
hypothetical thing. Let's say all of a sudden Barkley gets hurt,
yep.
Connor gets hurt, um, and who else? Who
Josh
else?
Jacobs, Dak Prescott.
Gallup blows an ACL, and
Yep.
then all of a sudden
Yep.
you're like, this year's gone,
Yep.
and you know.
Oh,
I'm
they're
not thinking this is going to happen to you. I'm just potentially. Also, now it's like, oh my God, I did all this in 2020 for 2020, and then 2020 being 2020.
yeah,
Like I
right.
saw your wife post. That's going to be the new. That's gonna be the new
The
punchline.
new
Where
motto.
how,
Yeah.
how's your day? Oh, it's a 2020. Like, oh, I get it now. Um, like that's why I actually made the comment. I think the Super Bowl is going to be Detroit and Cleveland. It makes sense.
Oh my God,
It makes sense.
it does make sense.
Yeah, this year it could be the healthiest team, not necessarily the best team.
Or
The
you
ones
know
that
what?
haven't
Hold on.
made
It
it,
doesn't
that's
make
most
sense. Nope.
logical.
Let me take that back. Detroit and Cleveland. I don't know if they play each other. If they don't play each other, they're going to go undefeated, both of them. But then understand, then we go into the playoffs. That's 2021.
Ah, good
So
point.
they're
Good
both
point.
16-0 and then lose in the first round of the
And that
playoffs
and
or
then
the
we know
divisional.
that all is right with the world again.
Yep.
Yep, things have lined back
Yes.
up.
Trubisky, he could be the league MVP.
There's no year in which Trubisky won't be the league MVP. I'm a Bears fan. There's no way. Here's how the Bears season is going to start out. Trubisky will be the starter for the first 2 to 3 weeks.
Mhm,
Then Foles comes in
mhm.
because Foles can't start and be awful and then pull Trubisky back in.
Now, I actually think that makes a lot of sense, and Trubisky can't get out of his own way.
Hmm.
Uh, better hope that Foles can hold up. I hope he's gotten a little stronger, a little bigger, put on some weight or something. But I
He's never
haven't
been
looked that
good.
up because I wasn't interested, and I was a believer when he came in with Philly. You know, won the Super Bowl, and then he had a
Well,
real good showing the next year.
he didn't have a fair shot in Jacksonville either because he got hurt right away. I mean, who
Bingo.
knows what could have happened there?
Exactly. I think week one.
And there's a team that I think is vying for the first overall pick, in my opinion, is Jacksonville. I mean, if you're telling me Gardner Minshew's their future, they're look at the end of the day, they're looking at David or Trevor Lawrence for next year.
I doubt it. Minshew's a real deal.
I
Think
think
so?
they're in on him. Whether he is or not remains to be seen. But I think they're in on him.
I don't think Jacksonville's going to be as bad as what you think this year.
Mhm.
I think Minshew is actually pretty solid. Plus,
Yeah, but they're gonna have to play from behind because that defense is not gonna be able to shut a single team down.
right, remember Bortles?
Yeah,
Remember those? Allen Robinson, Jalen
garbage time
Hurts?
king.
Yep.
So it'll be good for
But that
fantasy,
was
but a
that
real
that
life.
defense was stacked.
But as a real life quarterback, because fantasy and real life is
Hmm.
completely different.
Right.
So
You're right. You're right. You're right.
he'll put up
Jameis
points.
Winston is
Oh my goodness, right?
key for that.
Yeah, Mister Interception himself. That's another team because there's a lot of interesting stories to watch. I think Tampa Bay's one.
Here's an interesting story. Quick on Winston. I saw a thing that had the rate of the backup quarterbacks. They actually had Winston rated number one backup quarterback, which surprised me that it wasn't Dalton.
Yeah. Well,
I think Winston has a lot more skill than Dalton.
But I heard he's not. It's not going well. I
well,
heard he's struggling.
but what's he gonna do if they put him in? They're gonna be running the ball.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. I mean, they put Dalton in Dallas. He's still gonna be slinging it when you got the talent around him that he has,
Hmm.
and he has a good enough arm to do it. Jameis Winston obviously has quite an arm. Also, it's his decision making, right, and accuracy.
Hey, Guy, Will and I talked about this last week. We're kind of looking at the rankings for the that are available in our draft.
Hmm.
What's your thought process on why some of these players are? I think they are over. The stats are overhyped. For example, Tony Pollard. They have him. He's behind Zeke Elliott, and they're still giving Zeke Elliott like over 2,000 points. Why on earth would they think is going to get almost 1,000 points?
I think there's some backup players that a lot of people feel can step right in and there won't be a difference. And that's like Pollard in Dallas. I think if Zeke went down, Pollard could step in and be 90% of Zeke. Minnesota, um,
Alexander Madison.
Alexander Madison.
Yep.
I think he could step in for Cook and be 80 to 90% of what Cook could put out.
What about Boston Scott?
Boston Scott, he's just overrated. I think he'll be flex at best because there's still going to be a little bit of committee there. Because Sanders, I like Sanders, but I think he's going to have some down games or miss some games. Um, then that's when you're going to have Boston Scott to fill in. But they also got
I think they still have Clement, but that's not like that big a deal.
oh god,
See, I heard a rumor they were trying to acquire Jamal Williams
Yep.
from Green Bay.
I hadn't heard
Yep.
that one. I know they kicked the tires on Freeman, but he wanted too much money.
And
Devonta
I heard,
Freeman.
but I also heard now I heard him linked to Chicago,
hmm
but then apparently nothing came of that.
Yeah.
No.
I think Freeman sounds like he was looking for more money than what teams think he's worth and what he probably is worth.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you just want to get in there, get the,
Yeah.
do the league minimum, and then get more of an incentive-based contract.
Exactly. Pull the
Play
Cam
just do a
Newton.
one-year contract. You get to prove yourself for the future again. Say I
Exactly.
can still go.
Yeah, there's
Hart.
so many third and fourth string guys that are on teams right now that I would feel better about them being the starter on teams,
Right.
but they won't get the chances because of some coaches don't like playing rookies. Some coaches are loyal to their players
Well,
too
and you're going to
much.
have, you're going to have, or at least I'm expecting, the rookies to have a slower start this year,
hmm
right? With all of the offseason issues, with there being no preseason,
Yep.
the coaches don't get as much opportunity to evaluate them. So I would expect them to lean more on the veterans early in the season.
And that could also, I guess, play into factor why the stats are so bolstered because there is nothing to compare it against.
Yep.
So
I was listening to the radio today and they're talking
maybe it's
about
better to overrate it than underrate it. Maybe.
could be
Maybe.
practice is a big part because like Parcells, I guess I was talking like back in the day, he
Hey
was
Tony,
getting
flip the switch.
50 padded practices before the season started.
Oh, geez.
Now they're looking at 14,
Wow. What a difference.
and that's makes a difference for your body, like
Absolutely.
taking hits. Hamstrings, I think hamstrings are going to be the
Oh,
There,
that's
big
all
to do this year.
non-contact stuff.
Yeah.
there's already been several, right?
hmm
It's
And it's
Yeah,
your
already
every day, and they're
been.
like top end guys that are.
and it's your speed guys.
But it's in a way, it's I guess a hamstring. It can be a lingering thing, or it's they got a hamstring. He's gonna be good in a couple weeks, and then it's forgotten. Well,
It's
let's talk about a subject that's near and dear to this guy's heart right here. Let's talk about the kickers guy. What are your thoughts on the kickers?
Kickers. Um, I like kickers if I have a good one.
Really?
I, I'd say that about every position.
Oh,
But
okay.
but the difference in kickers from the top to like your 10th is like minuscule. So
So maybe
Let,
let me ask you this: do you wish we didn't have kickers? Maybe this is a subject I got to explore for I guess our league meeting next year.
I wouldn't mind having like another flex spot or something.
how about this? So, and I'll pose this to both of you. Is there a strategy to drafting a kicker?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely. Like
so
he
you do
said,
have
if
a
you can get there's a strategy to get the top quarter.
When I'm looking at drafting kickers, I can't believe there's a kicker strategy I have. So I like kickers that are on a team that has a pretty decent offense and a bad defense. So their offense is on the field more, trying to do a lot of garbage time stuff. But I don't like teams that can score every time either. I like teams that can get within 20 or 30 yards and stall.
You stall out.
And then I like that kicker.
Yeah. So you like Detroit's kicker?
Yes,
Gotcha.
that's usually a pretty good kicker. Or if you got just have a high flying offense like Baltimore last year or Kansas City, their kickers are solid. But after that, it's just there's like three or four like really great kickers.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I actually am considering one at 16 overall.
I
It's not
kind
hard
of
to figure out which one it is either because I've had in the last 2 years.
yeah. I like he's my favorite kicker.
I've if I had one more keeper spot, I would have kept him.
hmm I just don't know if 7, 10, or 13 is an appropriate spot for a kicker, and I really feel. But
Do you see how much he's projected to
yeah,
get?
that's his
we
points
we
are.
we definitely have the point system, to make it a valuable position.
Hmm.
So, which
Which
is
is weird because I
Well,
just brought that up as kind of a joke when it actually happened.
and also team defense though. We
Yeah.
have it set up where team defense isn't just like a thrown in
Hmm.
thing. It's actually a
Yeah.
viable
That's why I
statistic.
kept the one I
absolutely.
had.
If you got top end one, yeah,
Hmm.
definitely. Buffalo,
Yeah.
she kept Buffalo. Um, I think you always kept Jacksonville for a while too because they were worth it.
Yeah, she kept Kansas City.
Oh, that's right. You have Buffalo.
I
Yep.
had
She has,
Buffalo.
but
Yeah.
right,
So
Kansas City
so
is
three
worth.
people I think kept, right, because someone kept
Yep.
Baltimore also,
Raymond kept Baltimore.
and Kansas City and Buffalo. That's all I remember off the top of my head.
I think that's it.
Yeah,
Kansas City's got a tricky, good fantasy defense because their offense is so good. They make the other team's offense on the field so much it gives them more
exactly.
opportunities for turnovers.
I like. I
And
prefer
get them
doing the
playing from
individual
behind where they've
defensive
got to throw.
players, keeping those as opposed to whole team defense.
Say again.
I said I like to keep the individual defensive players as opposed to the team
And that's
defense.
something I had never done before I came into this league. So that's interesting to me. And I saw that a few people kept individual defensive players this year, and there's even two or maybe three people that kept multiples,
Yep.
Hmm.
right? As many as
I have a
three.
whole starting defense except for my flex.
Right, right. So that's interesting to me. And I felt like last year at least, I did a lot of plug and play at that position, trying to stream some matchups, and you'd catch on to one, maybe two guys that were being consistent performers every week. I had Littleton with the Rams, and the only reason I didn't keep him is because he switched teams, and I just don't have as much faith. So that's kind of the route I'm hoping is get that plug and play, and hopefully you latch onto one or two that you can just be an every week starter.
So
Hmm.
it was probably, oh geez, probably 12, 13 years ago. I was in an online keeper league, and it was like a $50 buy-in, and you got in when a team was opened up, kind of like ours, and they had the individual defensive players in it, and that's where I'm like, this is cool, like if you do it right. That was back when I was winning championships in the SFL, Christina. Um,
My
the old
first
Sunday
ever
football league.
fantasy league I was in '98 was actually had independent defensive players in it,
Okay. Yeah.
and that was.
God, I remember the last draft I was in, and the reason I stopped, I wasn't in anymore, is because it ended up we found out because you got to be friends with some of these people on there, even though they weren't around. They were,
It's not
and
the same.
one of them that won the whole thing, who I had made deals with, and I was like, hey, so because you're supposed to get a trophy. I'm like, so what would the trophy look like? He's like, I haven't gotten anything. And there's all these other things that you're supposed to get for winning it. He got
Hmm.
none of it. So like,
Oh, jeez.
this might be rigged.
Well, that is one nice thing, right? You do a great job, get like a nice actual trophy. I ran a league one year, and the winner got a, a a golf trophy that I picked up from Goodwill with a Nerf football stuck on the guy's head. I cut a slit, and so the fun was in the uh, trailer aspect of it there, but something to propose potentially for next year is there are leagues out there where, especially where it's a lot of people that know each other pretty well, that have a quote unquote punishment if you come in dead last. Now, there's also there's
That'll get
also
Tony.
there's also the potential in our league, right? If you once you know you haven't made the playoffs, to tank. Now, you've lessened that with this whole
Draft lottery.
egg system, right? But still, if I come in last, I'm going to get more eggs in the basket,
Right.
still get a higher. So that would actually help offset that too. If somebody that came in last, say,
I
had to shave their eyebrows for a week or something, I don't know. Just
because we
throwing.
tell, we wouldn't even know a difference.
Okay, maybe that's a bad example,
They
but
get the Peyton Hillis Award right there. There's an award. It's called the Peyton Hillis Award of Excellence.
right, right,
Tank.
huh? I
I mean, look at Jimmy. Jimmy had the worst record last year, and his actual pick ended up being the fourth pick. The reason he's got the second pick was because
Sure.
He made the trade with Christina. Her name was actually picked second.
Yep. Yep. No, and
I got a question now. So looking back, hindsight 2020 and 2020,
uh-oh.
um, would you looking
But
back, if you known you would have got the second pick, would you still have done that deal for Bell? Yep.
she needed so much running back help at the time, and not that Lev Bell is, one of, like a top 5 at his position, but he gets volume.
He might not be top 5 on his team by the end of the season.
He has he has
Well,
now
the only
that team
downside to
doesn't need to
Bell,
get rid of Bell. They need to get rid of the coach.
well,
Is who they
the
need to
biggest downside. Oh, well,
get.
actually, as a Dolphins fan, they can keep him. Um, the biggest downside to Bell is not his talent. It's
Attitude.
it's attitude. It's in his head. He makes stupid decisions, says stupid things, uses what Twitter, Instagram, whatever the young people are using these days. I don't know, Alex. What is it? TikTok or whatever? TikTok. You don't stop.
There's another line there. It's an old song, and
Yeah.
I'm blanking on it.
Yep.
Uh,
To the left, to the left, to the right, to the right, to the front, to the front, to the back, to the back. Now dip,
oh,
guy,
it might
dip.
be time to
Just
go.
generic.
Cotton candy, sweet as gold. Let me see that Tootsie Roll.
See,
Anyways,
Wow.
um,
if he starts dancing, I'm out. Just saying.
I'm actually surprised there's not more people here at this point. Here we are about almost 5:30. I was gonna
I
cut the stream about 5:30.
you you
Well, you're here, but you're not in it.
you,
I
you should, because
I'm
I need to
surprised
get
Jimmy's not already here. To be honest with you, I had a lot of questions for that guy.
you should cut it because I need to get some food, and you need to respond to my trade offer
Oh,
there. So
so just
for
so everyone
Rich,
knows, so we talked earlier about the 4 people that are going to be watching the stream. Well, there's 2 people that are not going to be here or able to watch the stream. Guy is drafting for one, and that's Ross Carlson, and I am drafting for the other, which is Rich, because unfortunately he has to work as well, just like Ross. And apparently I've been given full authority to make trades too, which I don't know if I like that or not. The only thing I was told that Michael Thomas is off limits, which
fair.
there would have been an immediate trade for myself on that one, I think. Um,
Yeah, we might have to institute a veto by the rest of the league. We see some trading like that start happening. So
no, I did see. I know it involved Bridgewater, I believe. I didn't see what all the specifics of it were.
it did, yeah. So
Um,
so he actually said that he said I'm desperate for a running back, which he has 4,
all right.
but one of them's a backup in Benny Snell, and I don't recall off the top of my head who his other
Well,
ones
he's got
are.
David Johnson,
He does have David Johnson. You
and
probably got it right in front of you, actually.
I
So
know, but I'm trying to remember.
so he said he needs a running back, and he doesn't have a first round pick this year.
Aaron Jones.
And I said, all right, well, I'll offer you Teddy Bridgewater, which is what my original offer was, just Bridgewater for a second round pick, because he also needs a quarterback. He's got one, if I remember right.
All right, here's a fair deal. Then why don't we do this? We're making deals here on the stream. Can you believe this? So
Well, let
so
me no,
you
let me
get
let me
you would
throw
get the
out what I
second round
offered him.
pick. You
Let me
get the
throw out
second
the
round pick
offer.
of Benny Snell for Saquon Barkley and Bridgewater, and we'll call it good. I'll even buy a Crossing Bart CD just
I
because
offered
I
him
feel like it.
I offered him a starting running back and a starting quarterback
Saquon Barkley.
for a backup running back and a pick,
There you
his
go.
second round pick.
Look at he's. I think he
The
disagreed.
starter was
Carry
Kerryon Johnson.
Oh,
Carry on my wayward son.
go ahead.
He's the
Yes,
starter.
you can have one.
Swift hasn't been in practice in a week.
Yeah, he's probably got. Like I said, he's got that Georgia-itis.
On his mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Georgia's on his mind.
So he
Georgia satellites.
he gives up a backup running back to get a starting running back. I get, for me, it's insurance because I got James Conner and Benny Snell's a backup. So I get the insurance policy. I got the Pittsburgh running back.
Let me put it this way. I don't like the idea of making the trade for another person. If he's, I mean,
I don't blame
just
you.
contact him. Just if he's, I mean, just tell him exactly what you want to offer, and he'll either say yes or no. Or
Oh,
not
oh,
counter.
no, I did.
Oh.
I sent you the screenshot. He told me Eric is
Yeah, I know. I have
taking care
full,
of
but
him.
I'm not making it. I don't want to make a deal for someone else because I wouldn't want someone else to make a deal for me.
No,
We made the
I don't
because
blame
we
you.
made the joke because I was going to say to him, well, since you got full control of Ross's team, let's start talking trade here. Let's see. I'll give you Kirk Cousins for Russell Wilson. Let's see what else does Ross have. Let's
Speaking of
pillage
full
Ross's
control of
team.
Well,
Ross's team, half his players were my players.
Well, who do you want, guy? You could trade him to me, and then I'll trade him to you.
I wouldn't mind having.
Right? You want Kittles? Oh no, that's Mark's team.
I wouldn't mind
You
having
want
Kelsey
Kamara?
back.
Alvin Kamara?
Yeah.
I guess I'd
I'll
take him.
take Devontae Adams. Christina, you want Hopkins? Tony, you want Kelsey? Guy, who do you want? You want
I want
Ronald
Kelsey.
Jones? Do you want Kamara or Sam Darnold? We're pillaging Ross's team now. You have full control.
True.
He'll get
Ross.
I'm willing to give the 14th round pick.
he'll
Hold
get
on.
he'll
I
get
got.
good picks next
Yep.
year.
Yep. Ross has traded me Alvin Kamara for my 10th round pick.
All right. No, it's someone actually was watching it. I don't know how many, but I did see that said one person was watching it. We're at 5:30, and like I said, I was hoping to have more people here. I'm gonna cut the stream now though, and then we'll be back around 6. And at 6 we'll do the pre-draft, and by 6:30 we'll actually be picking. So because we got the big Hall of Fame, which 3 people in this room currently sitting with me were involved with in the decision making there, and on the 2020 Hall of Fame class, and of course we always have the famous intro, which this year's intro will feature. And all I say is I blame you guys for posting the pictures on Facebook. It has a young picture of you followed by a current picture of you.
Great.
Actually, I was given the picture about 2 years ago. Whoa!
Oh, hey,
This is a
family
family-friendly stream
show.
here.
Jeez.
Beep. You know what? She might not pick her up because it does have problems when it's supposed to only get you. So,
Are we on a delay?
well, that might pick up.
Do it. Let's find
But
out.
there's some fun. There's some good ones. Let's just say there's yours is high school. It's hard to get his because he doesn't do much with pictures at all. Yours is from a wedding.
Oh, one of mine maybe?
Nope.
Oh.
Oh, I guess I don't know. You were kind of like on the end. So,
Oh.
Gives us he didn't want to be involved, so he just walked over to the end.
well,
Yeah.
like Jerry Seinfeld said, the tuxedo is a piece of clothing completely. The concept came up with women. They're all the same. We might as well dress them all the same. And it also acts as a safety device for the bride because in case the groom doesn't show up, everyone takes a step to the left. That's why they say, "Do you take this man? Not do you take Charlie Wilson?" But another good point is, if he's the best man, why is she marrying you? Okay, sorry, that was a little Jerry Seinfeld for you.
What's the deal with bread wrappers?
Yes, I've been listening to Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Why do you drive on a parkway and park in a driveway?
He's doing 90 up a one way, and you're just kind of like, oh, cool. I wouldn't try that in my car. All right, well, we're going to end the red carpet event. Like I said, I
On that
apologize
high
if there's
note.
not more people here, but some people want to get something to eat, and got to rest my voice and get it ready for the next, probably 3 hours. So,
If we're lucky.
or 2.5. But we will cut stream here. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in a few minutes, about at 6 o'clock.